What's going on, guys? VALTORIOUS the Awoken here. So, boys, it's been far too long since we've actually did a what if video for Naruto or anything Naruto in general. Like, that shit's been like a hot minute, right? So, what if Kisame was alive? Now, this is I technically did this video in the past, right? But I kind of wanted to, do some things. Well, I wouldn't say do some things differently, but just kind of like explore the lore, I should say, of like Kisame and of this like what if story for the video, right? So, what if Kisame was alive? Now, I made this video 4 years ago. For this video, I'm going to go more in depth as to why Kisame would have survived. Since Obito and Kisame were the last and surviving members of the Akatsuki, during Kisame's battle with my guy Obito and Zetsu would have shown up and rescued Kisame. Kisame's goals were to see Madara's true plans and futures to play out, as Kisame wanted to see the world to be changed. Madara's whole goals were to use the Eye of the Moon plan to make the world end with no more conflict, lies, and betrayal. Obito would have congratulated him on the information he was able to obtain and securing the victory in the war. Obito would have had Kisame lead the reanimated 7 swordsmen of the mist to fight alongside him. There would be a few separate fights that would be happening. Kakashi and Rock Lee would be fighting off against Haku and Zabuza, while Kisame would be fighting off against my guy. Their fight would go on for quite a while, and not knowing that the real Madara has appeared on the battlefield, Obito would give Kisame instructions to try to find or trap Naruto. Kisame would try to get away from my guy, but their fight becomes even more intense. Both are fighting until the fighting takes them to where Kabuto is at. At this point, Kabuto has already been defeated, and Itachi is saying his final farewells to Sasuke. Seeing Itachi one last time reminds Kisame about Itachi's words about no one doesn't know who they are until they truly die. Sasuke leaves with Orochimaru's plan, and Kisame continues his fight with my guy. Kisame will go all out against my guy as they did in the show, only for my guy to defeat him the same way, and will proceed to rejoin the war. Kisame and Kabuto would appear later back on the battlefield when Obito became the Tenten Jinchuriki. Obito would use the incomplete version of the Eye of the Moon plan and would drain the life force out of all of the ninjas and then proceed to kill them. Kisame doesn't quite get what's going on, only to see the real Madara fighting against Hashirama. Kisame would turn against Obito because he would believe that he lied about being Madara and just used the Akatsuki for his own ends. Kisame would be reminded by Fubuki as he sold information to other villages for his own gain. After the defeat of Obito, Zetsu would take over Obito's body and uses the resurrection technique to bring back Madara. Zetsu would explain to Kisame that Obito betrayed them and the plan that the real Madara had given them. Kisame would still remain loyal to the plans that are going into motion, as Madara had a plan to take out Obito, but seeing how as the Shinobi Alliance is doing that for him, he didn't really need to interfere. Kisame would have betrayed Madara after hearing everything that Madara had said about him using the hit and miss ninjas and for having Obito kill those ninjas. Madara would have killed Kisame and told him thank you for your service, as his services is no longer required. Kisame would think back on lots of things that had happened, but would never regret on meeting and befriending Itachi. Kisame at the end would realize that Madara is truly evil and that he manipulated everything for a disillusion of peace. There was no such thing as changing the world, as the people of the world will remain the same and change will never come. Kisame is a very loyal ninja, but the moment he feels betrayed, that is when he flipped the switch. And to hear the truth before he was going to die would change everything that Kisame had believed in. Now, sure, in the anime, Madara told the truth to Obito privately, but for this, he would have told him while everyone was watching. Madara would have been showing off his cocky attitude of him truly winning and that nobody is strong enough to stop him. Because Kisame, despite what anybody would say, Kisame is he's very loyal and stuff. Like if there's like a plan or something that's very truthful, like he's gonna be down for it, because he showed his loyalty towards Itachi, and that him and Itachi kind of like had similarities because they kind of like betrayed and killed like their comrades. I mean, comrades and family members is kind of different because, we don't know if Kisame actually seen his comrades as family as more as Itachi, where he actually killed his entire family and his comrades as well. So it's like they had like some sort of a bond there with each other. But I feel like if Kisame would have lived all the way up until the end, I think there would have been a betrayal, because you would see, because Obito tricked everyone into thinking that, yeah, he was the real Madara, but the real Madara died and just gave him the plans and the necessary tools to bring him back, so that way the plan can come into fruition. So I would believe that if Kisame was to know like the real truth, it's a possibility that he probably wouldn't betray any of them and just stick alongside them and be like, oh, okay, yeah, this is the real Madara. But I don't know, I feel like he would feel duped in a way, because it's like you told everyone that you're the real Madara, but the real Madara is actually here. So you just went along with it, because Kisame, I think, was the only one that knew. I think no. Kisame and I think Itachi, I think, was the only two that knew that I think Obito was like the real leader of the Akatsuki, because for all of the other Akatsuki members, they was like Pain was like the real leader, but it was really Obito that was the leader, because when everything was being formed, Kisame didn't quite know who was like the masked man at first, because he met Obito like I guess years later before the Akatsuki was formed. So he was like, oh, to see him again, he was like, oh, you're him, but he wasn't, he was just Obito at the moment. So it's like, I don't know, I probably would feel like he would feel some type of way, like he would feel tricked. And then on top of that, to see like this was his true piece, like, okay, he summons the tree and then it's absorbing the life force, and it's like, this is your piece to just basically have massive genocide and kill people. I mean, I don't know, I think maybe Kisame probably would like the mass genocide, but then the whole being betrayed and lies, and I don't know, I feel like Kisame, he was like somewhat of a psycho, but he had morals, he had, I wouldn't say sympathy, but he had goals, he had ideas and stuff. But he even died for those ideas in the show, because he wanted to see what Obito was going to do, well, what Madara was going to do and stuff. But yeah, Kisame is a loyal and he's a loyal nigga. So it's like, I personally would believe that maybe he probably would fight against Madara. Like, yo, like, I feel kind of tricked here, I feel duped, like, this guy said that he was, now you saying that you are, which you are, but I kind of feel duped here. So I don't know, but let me know what you guys think. Like, do you believe that Kisame would actually betray like Madara after hearing everything that, I mean, if anybody was to hear all of that shit, I think there would be like some sort of war. I feel kind of duped here, because you lied to him and you kind of caused all of this. So I don't know, I feel like there would be something done there. And the Zetsu part of him explaining to Kisame about like Obito's betrayal, I would say like it would kind of make things a little bit more smoother, because again, he can say anything and be like, well, I didn't know that see, he can't say that. Well, I don't know, like, I feel like he probably would say like, yeah, like, yeah, he kind of went off script, like this wasn't the plan, but then would have him come back to the winning team and be like, yeah, because the real Madara is here, and then he would, like I said, explain the plan there and stuff. But then after hearing Madara just be all cocky, like, well, nobody can beat me, I win, so I'm just going to expose everything, I think it would kind of have Kisame versus Kisame versus Madara and stuff. Because if anybody remembers from Bleach and the whole Gin situation. Now, Gin was different. It was kind of different because he was kind of like undercover in a sense, but then Aizen fucked his whole shit up. But I know that was different. That was completely different. But I don't know. I feel like Madara killing Kisame towards the end would be kind of justice in a sense, because he would be the last Akatsuki member. And then Madara just takes him out because he's like, well, thank you for your service. I heard you did a good job in making things come to my will or my light, so thank you. So I don't know, I feel like that probably would most likely what happened, but let me know what you guys think. If you like what you heard your like, please subscribe, share, do all that wonderful stuff. And I'll catch you later.
Crazy, berserker, I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker,